Good morning and welcome to this bronze medal match here at Windmill in the mixed division. We have Ambush with the disc hailing from India, matching up against SMOG with a hand up coming from the UK, ready to play in this mixed division bronze medal match. I'm Rachel Douglas. I'm here in the commentary booth with Benji Rees.
Good morning, Rachel. It's finals day. It's great, isn't it? My words are a little bit incoherent. Made the most of the Windmill festivities last night. So, yeah, locked and loaded, ready to go. So he's going to take home this mixed bronze.
SMOG starting on offense. Thompson into the middle, a little bit low, a little bit too far for Hunt to be able to pick up. So Ambush now with a chance to get the first break of the game. Disc, big disc straight off the bat. Oh, and number 10 gets high, gets up. No slowness for them this morning, not feeling the after effects of the party. Ambush coming out really strong after that turnover, just a little bit of an execution error from SMOG. Ambush just maximising that opportunity straight away with a hug and an excellent sky to bring down that point.
Ambush are exciting and athletic, and they will turn the disc over, they will give you opportunities, but also they will come down with some scintillating plays, and then, you know, they are not afraid to jack it, let me tell you.
Yeah, we've seen some really exciting play from Ambush over this weekend. They've come all the way from India. They're based in Goa, a team that's really pumped up and excited to be able to demonstrate the quality of Indian Ultimate here in Europe against some of these incredible teams. SMOG being the UK national champions.
They are indeed. A program that came out probably 5-6 years ago, and they're built from strength to strength, even qualifying multiple teams into EUCF.
They have both of their teams here. They have SMOG and SMOG Rising, both of which will be going to Cincinnati Worlds. A massive feat for a club to be able to have their first and second team qualifying.
A little bit crazy.
Yeah, it's a bit mad, but SMOG, I think, having a game yesterday, a little bit disappointed with the outcome. They had a rematch against Hoot, and they weren't able to come away with the victory, and therefore they find themselves in this bronze medal match instead of the final. Now with the disc, looking to see if they can put this one in, try and close Ambush out from the opportunity from another break. Cod with a disc in the middle field. Looking downfield, lots of space for the cutters, but not seeing opportunities to Hunt. Hunt to Thompson. Thompson fakes the flick, now looks for her dump. Passes it up line, but unfortunately that was well read by the Ambush defense and just managed to kind of sneak into that space and intercept. Ambush now with the disc again, with an opportunity for a second break in the second point of the game.
Yeah, they telegraphed that up line cut a little bit and allowed the defenders to poach off and come into that space and take the disc away.
Big disc goes up. Bennett able to read that well and just using that slight height mismatch there, using his height advantage and his long arms just to tip that away before Ambush had an opportunity to get a play on it. So SMOG back with the disc, with a full field to travel, but not letting Ambush get that break at that point.
Yeah, Tang was the target there, but as you mentioned, Bennett utilising that extra wingspan, because famously you could not teach tool, and Bennett made the most of what he's got.
Bennett goes up the line, sees disc, puts it big. Cod goes all the way down there, chases it down, but just isn't able to cover the ground and make a bid on that disc. Makes a strong effort to try and get there, but not able to come down with it. So that's another turnover in this second point of this game. Ambush back with the disc and back with the opportunity to break.
I'm not quite sure how he didn't catch that. I thought he had it all the way, but it just must have been agonisingly out of reach and couldn't get his feet set for the full extension layout.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's hard when you're hustling to get down there. I think he was covering the yards and then didn't manage to sort of time the bid off of that. It would have been a spectacular grab if he'd made it, and it's difficult to kind of coordinate when you're trying to run full stride. Immediate turnover though, Connie with an interception. A little bit of chat, I guess, there, clarifying if there was some sort of foul on that throw.
It's Bennett and Tang matched up again.
The disc comes back in. Stall count 0, so that must be an uncontested foul. Number 4, Godino. Ambush having to get low to catch that one. Odoyo doing a great job to get hands on it. A little pop forward. Fakes the big one. Mac Chowdhury. A little bit of contact on the mark. Puts up a long forehand, but there is a violation call. Which means play stopped, no one was moving. Nice play, but unfortunately it's not gonna stand.
Bennett got a little bit handsy on the mark there, and then wanted to get everything going quickly, but players had stopped downfield for the foul call.
A foul call is a stoppage, so players stopping downfield was the correct thing. If there is a foul call, the play is supposed to stop, and they should clarify what's happening on field. Bennett brings the disc in. Still a very close force, very physical. Tang with the reset here on this home sideline. Big defensive pressure on the mark. Quite a lot of SMOG pressure there, like the jump cuts were coming in really close, not using the space and making those throwing windows really narrow. SMOG with an excellent defensive effort there. Thompson with the disc. Comfortably into the space in the end zone with Bennett to Bennett for the score.
A little bit cheeky from there for Bennett, because he was indicating he wanted the open side, wanted that put high into space, almost indoor style, playing the matchup, and I think the defender noticed that and was sucking in slightly, and it gave Bennett the space once he'd over adjusted to go to that break side. Helen Thompson breaks the mark comfortably, and SMOG are level at ones.
Yeah, I think so far this game probably this isn't the way that SMOG will have come out intending to start the game. It's been a bit scrappy. We're seeing them, I think, desperately trying to raise their intensity on defense. It's a really difficult feat. You know, it's Sunday morning. They've played this long tournament. They've had very, very competitive games. But they're going to really need to turn up and get fired up on defense. I think we saw Bennett there doing a sort of a one-man job to try and raise the intensity, perhaps raising the physicality a smidge too much, but definitely they're going to be looking to raise that energy level across the line as this D line comes out, tries to get a turn and try and get a break back against Ambush.
It's always difficult in the bronze medal match because it's not the match you want to be in, let's be honest. You know, people call it's the people's gold because it means you can go and hit the party hard, but you know, you come here to win the big one, so trying to raise that intensity for a game that you ideally didn't want to be playing can be difficult.
Ambush with the disc. Again, a long look. Number 19, Shevday catches that deep. Fakes, he's looking for his options, but players are just trying to catch up. A little dump to number 33. Kadu with the disc. A reset to David Hampson. And a forward pass straight down the line to someone on the roster who's just Liz. No surname, just Liz.
One name like Cher or Madonna or somewhat up-to-date reference.
Yeah, just Liz, just like Cher.
Yeah, this would have been a great opportunity to make a really, you know, up-to-date part about some Cher song. Give me a second, I'll get there. Okay, here we go. They're dishing off it down the line, looking to see if they want to get that really aggressive cut to the front cone, and Liz is strong enough to provide it. How's that?
For a Sunday morning, that's great.
Thank you.
Ambush coming out, just looking quite calm, quite together. It feels like their offensive points are, aside from the kind of the intense handler marking and sort of small play that we saw the turnover in the point before, all of their other offensive has just looked a bit calmer, a bit more kind of controlled. You know, they don't seem to be under too much pressure from SMOG.
Even with that deep put, it wasn't, let's just boost it as far as we can. They got the space on the field that they wanted to put it to, and they just took a little bit off, so they didn't make the catch too difficult for the receiver.
Yeah, they're really creating space and using everything available to them. SMOG now with the disc. A long put down the sideline to Thompson. Beautiful throw, beautiful cut, really well timed, really well weighted. That's the kind of offense SMOG are going to be looking to play. That's the kind of thing they're going to be asking, you know, why is it taking us until this point of the game? Still early, but you know, several points already on the scoreboard to find those connections and to find that fluidity.
One of the reasons I think SMOG have become such a formidable side in this division is because they play really good mixed ultimate, which is what I mean when like they're more than happy to have, you know, women hucking to each other, utilising them as core handlers or initiators. It's not just we'll let the guys goon around and we've also got women here. They play good mixed ultimate.
Yeah, and the lines are formidable. You know, the women on the team are incredible athletes, amazing behind the disc, they're amazing receivers, really dynamic players. Yeah, an incredible roster, really. And as we said, you know, this is one of two teams. This is sort of the SMOG first team, but the depth of the club is enormous. And yeah, as you say, they figured out the mixed dynamic in a way that's really nice to watch, because they don't really rely on sort of specific people. They can just play across the lines, maximising every player on the field. Shardlow centres the disc to Kadu.
I thought Spears was maybe going to put the bid in there.
Liz. Back to Shardlow. Hampson with the disc. Fakes it up the line. Shardlow gets the up the line on second thoughts. Oof. A forward pass, a big bid from Nick Williams for SMOG. In the end, that didn't seem to be necessary, really. That still went to ground, but definitely put his player under pressure. SMOG get the turnover. Back to Williams. Oh, a little bit of contact there, I think, as he brought the disc through. Perhaps just caught Saranj.
All smiles and hand slaps. Feel obligated to say that Nick Williams, known as the nicest man in Ultimate, although I have to say that or his hired goods will break my legs. It's
like his sister Heather, known to be the muscle. Ayden with the disc in the middle of the field, back to Spears. SMOG on the end zone line, looking for a reset, back to Spears. Spears takes it wide to Lim. Back to Spears. A little bit of give go and Lim gets it in the end zone for the score.
That Spears to Lim connection was crucial in getting SMOG that break and bringing this game back on serve as they take the 3-2 lead. He put the shot down the sideline. He'd got a lot of air under it, and Lim read it really well. Not a huge margin for error. And she tried to milk it into the end zone as well, but couldn't quite do that. But then rather than force it in there, just say, okay, we'll go backwards a little bit in order to generate some motion, get the disc on the move, keep the defenders on their heels a little bit, and make it easier to work it in.
Yeah, absolutely. That sort of handler movement, the give and go, just moving that disc around, not being afraid to make those extra passes, not trying to force it in where there isn't an opportunity, just being nice and patient, able to reset the stall count back between the handlers until there's a gap, and Lim just reading that really well, able to make that up the line cut receive the disc and for a comfortable score for SMOG. And as you say, that was a break, so it takes them back on serve. They've reset, back on, you know, as if those breaks never happened.
No, this is important for SMOG because in their semi-final against Cluj yesterday, they got broken a couple of times early, and it seemed to really knock the wind out of them. Just could not get a foothold in that game. Whereas, you know, getting some points on an offense, getting that early break back, you really feel like, okay, you know, we've settled down, we've calmed down, we're in this game.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a critical process. It's a critical kind of learning point for a team going to Worlds, being able to recognise, you know, if you do have a game where you're not able to play the way you want to play, perhaps it doesn't quite go the way you'd hoped it would, being able to reset and kind of get your mentality back together and come out firing for the next one. So definitely SMOG seems to have taken that learning point, and although they went down at the beginning of this game, they've reset and they've connected, and now on defense, trying to see if they can get a break of their own and take away a lead. Ambush with the disc. Centered to Damor. Pick called. Disc goes back to Damor.
That was dealt with quickly and effectively. Just clarifying, disc coming in 1-0. Damor looking downfield. It's number 3, Paris. Paris to Odoyo. Odoyo to Shetty. Shetty near the end zone now. Swing back. Goes to ground to secure that one. Damor with the disc. Puts the disc high, right on the end zone line. Paris finds that dump pass, creating space, losing a few yards. A big hammer look over the top, very comfortably to number 15, Jashan Shetty for the score. That hammer's a thing of beauty. They used to be a really, not frowned upon, but hammers in Ultimate, when I started playing, were certainly given a slightly suspicious eye. People thought that overheads were risky, but especially against zones or in the end zone when space is at a premium, you get these quite tight stacks set up, and you want to try and find a way to access the break side in all conditions, but especially when it's relatively still like it is today. That hammer is a great way of unleashing that space there, and this ambush stack was set quite towards the open side, so there's a huge amount of break space to throw that hammer in and lead it there, and it was executed to perfection.
I think with all things, you know, if it's a legitimate option if you've trained it, you know, if you back yourself, if you put in the work, if you know that you can throw that hammer with precision and with intention, and you know you're able to control the path of the disc, where it lands, how fast it comes in, all of those things are things that are very trainable. Back in the day, as you say, hammers perhaps were thought of as one of the trick shots, but actually they're a completely legitimate option if you've trained it and if you're able to throw it with precision, which Ambush demonstrating they absolutely are.
I think there's very few players in the elite game now who don't have a couple of overheads in their arsenal.
Leads to Turton. Turton to Cod. Cod puts it deep to a streaking Tessa Hunt. Comfortably received for the score. When you see Tessa Hunt going deep, you make sure that you're trying to get the disc to her. That's she's a critical receiver for SMOG, and yeah, fierce in the end zone. Not having to work too hard for that one there though. Really well timed cut, really well executed throw, just over the head of the defender. Not able to put pressure on that.
It's a really sneaky break throw from Turton to find that little inside channel to Cod. Means the mark's a little bit further off, so he can really step into the huck. As you mentioned, it's a little bit agonising for Ambush as it just floats over their head. But, I mean, as you say, Tessa Hunt streaking deep is it's a pretty tempting option.
Yeah. SMOG know they just have to get the disc down there and she'll do the rest. So thankfully that time it was a great throw, a great option, well timed and all of that. But yeah, we've seen other options taken where they just sort of see her and just put it down there, and then she has to do some work to go get it. But that one was really well executed.
Yeah, the Hunt deep cut, it feels like one of those, you know it's going to come. The question is, can you stop it? And And most teams can't.
Ayden with the pull.
Yeah, Wimble using the prescribed puller, so the dominant gender on pitch, whether that be for women or for men. Pulls, in this case, was Ayden pulling. 4 females for each team. Also using the ABBA gender ratio rule, where after the first point you switch every 2 points. These kind of changes in rules are aiming to promote equity in the way that mixed is played.
That pull did go out of bounds, so Ambush have bricked it. David Hampson bringing it in on the brick mark. Over to Liz. 21, Bagale. Oh, and a turn.
Yeah, locked onto the receiver downfield and just didn't see the defenders in the intermediary there and ripped it straight into the defender.
SMOG with a chance for a break. Hyde with the grab there. Lucy Hyde looking for her reset. Lim with the disc. Williams gets free but doesn't get it. Back to Hyde. Spears makes that cut to that front end zone corner. Doesn't get it initially. Keeps going with the cut and then rewarded in that front corner of the end zone. Spears with the score, Hyde with the assist.
Yeah, SMOG, this is 3 on the bounce for... no, it isn't. That's not how maths works. It is just a break for SMOG, so they get to go up by 2. And you feel like, they're feeling themselves a little bit now.
Absolutely. They started the game a bit slow. Ambush definitely came out with a bit more energy, maybe a bit more intention at the start of the game in those first few points. It looked a little bit like maybe Ambush were going to kind of set the tone, grab the momentum and try and run away with it, coming out early, getting that early break. But SMOG have sort of switched on, a little bit slower to start, but we're definitely seeing now quite flowing offense. We're seeing execution errors from Ambush, where perhaps they just aren't really taking account of all the SMOG players on the field.
Yeah, it feels like that maybe at the start there was the danger of SMOG getting sucked into Ambush's exhilarating style of play, but actually they've kind of kept it relatively calm and worked it till they find options that they like, and it suits them a lot better, I think.
Yeah, SMOG playing their own game, which I'm sure is something that they came here with the intention to do. As we mentioned, they had a really difficult game yesterday against Kroot from the Netherlands, a team that they'd played earlier in the tournament and beaten in sudden death, and then a rematch yesterday just saw who come out firing and really put SMOG under a huge amount of pressure. So I'm sure they went away after that game, thought about the lessons, thought about what they needed to do, and have come into this game with the desire to play their own structures and to be really competitive, which is definitely what we're seeing.
Yeah, something my coach has always told me is, even if you lose the game, don't lose the lesson.
Wise words. Ambush with the disc. Number 4, Godino. Dumps back, pass it to this home sideline. Hampson with the disc. Got SMOG poach in the lane. Will pop to number 26, Sharma. Crossfield, back to Hampson. Some little sort of give and goes, pops the disc. Number 19 puts it out to Odoyo. Odoyo with the score, really well executed, fast-paced, flowing offense there from Ambush, just finding those spaces, not giving SMOG the chance to catch up, keeping that disc flowing, keeping that disc moving, constantly finding an open option, and just a very sort of flowing and decisive offensive moment for Ambush.
I like the idea of coming out in a zone, throwing something different at your opponent, asking them those metaphorical questions of, can you find these spaces, can you exploit any gaps that we leave, and Ambush did not look flustered in the slightest.
No, as you said, they definitely have a specific playing style, and it's there's a lot of real talent on that line in terms of being able to be really dynamic with the disc. And I think what they showed there is they're not just a one-trick pony. They've got these amazing long puts that they're not afraid to use to really open up the game. But if that's not on, if that's not what they're looking for in that moment, they're not afraid to also do some small ball, move the disc quickly, pass between handlers. Yeah, great. A really quick but not rushed offensive look.
Yeah, what's the phrase? Less haste, more speed? Like, they're moving it quickly, but they, as you say, they didn't look rushed or panicked.
Still a very tight game here. SMOG with the disc. Thompson on that far sideline. Fakes the huck. Back to Lees. Tiswell with the disc into the middle to Hunt. Hunt dumps back to Thompson. Thompson puts that disc quite low, but Gill gets down to get it on that far sideline. Back to Thompson. Losing yards, but maintaining the disc. Hunt getting high to receive that. Swinging from Thompson. A little bit of a miscommunication there. Cod thinking he needed to push downfield. Hunt trying to make that swing pass. Solid pressure from Ambush just to make sure that they get that defense and don't let that miscommunication be saved.
Yeah, you're seeing there the athleticism from Mac Chowdhury. Thought, okay, maybe Cod might not have got there anyway, but he was definitely not going to try and give him the opportunity.
Ambush with a chance for a break now. Nika with the disc. Injury called. SMOG calling injury, bringing a player off. Patterson coming on to fill that spot for his teammate who just needed to come off.
Yeah, and Chowdhury, having got the block, jogs to the sideline. Maybe get a more offensively minded player on the pitch.
A little bit of discussion on field just to confirm everyone's where they're supposed to be and the disc comes in. Big look straight off of that. Oh, and a pick called, a really athletic play to bring that down, but unfortunately Cod is calling a pick. A little bit of disbelief, I think, for the receiver there.
I see now why they made the injury switch, because Chowdhury, okay, makes the bid, comes up, you know, maybe a little sore, doesn't quite have the energy, so we'll just bring on another incredible athlete to go and make a sick layout. Although, as you mentioned, it looks like this might come back.
That's number 26, Karen Sharma. Oh, we see there that defensive bid. Miscommunication, it was yeah, well secured by Ambush with that layout defensive block. But now we have some discussion about how to resolve this. A pick was called, so the disc will go back.
Yeah, decided that it did affect the play.
I think the Cod going deep was one of the early ones to call it, so I'm not sure where the pick occurred, but definitely they feel it impacted how that point progressed. Little negotiations on where to come back in. Sharma, I think, a little bit disappointed with that, thought we had a bit of separation, but nice and calm, reset to double. Well, just like a bad option, but when you can execute it that well, that's just unbelievable. Just passing it over all the traffic. From that angle, I couldn't even really see, you know, there were so many people between them. I don't even know how he kind of identified that option, but another hammer, just precision execution, straight to someone on that open side.
Yeah, this is about the vision, and it's quite a low flat hammer rather than one of these overheads that seems to come down with snow on it. It's really ripped in there, and here's a replay of the layout that was called back. It's not a bad catch, is it? And I think, yeah, eventually Sharma did catch that hammer for the goal, and yeah, maybe a little bit of frustration that the initial score didn't count. But Ambush have got that break back, so we're now level at 5s. Spicy looking game here we've got, Rachel.
Yeah, and as we said before, quite different playing styles, but it's a really great matchup, and I think they're really able to test each other. Ambush demonstrating that SMOG can't give them anything. You know, they're not safe. That was on that break side, right in the back corner. the defensive player wasn't tight on Sharma, didn't realise that was going to be something that they were going to hit, didn't have time to catch up because that option, that throw came in so hot, so fast. SMOG are really going to have to recognise that wherever they are on the field, Ambush are a threat.
Nice deep pull from Ambush, sorry, to get this point started.
Yeah, absolutely. SMOG doing a good job to create space, gain yards. Just pops out of Tidswell's hands there.
I'm not quite sure what happened because it felt like he was in the right position for the catch and maybe looking downfield or looking to see where the defender is. Just
an execution error, lack of focus maybe.
Yeah, bounced straight out.
Ambush with the disc. Puts a high, aggressive blade all the way downfield, right, not quite into the end zone, on the line. Ambush with a chance for a break. Some contact in that dump space. Patterson getting helped up by number 45, Nika. Just a bit of contact, I think, as they were trying to come through, but quickly resolved. Damore with the disc, right on the end zone line. Ambush with an opportunity to break.
Just maybe some discussion about where everyone was and needs to be, exactly when the foul was called.
Quite difficult when everyone's streaking through and frantically trying to get into the end zone. But resolved, the disc comes in. Oof. Put out for a dump. Massive bid from SMOG. Big defensive pressure from SMOG there. Huge bid on that swing, and then an interception on the pass into the end zone.
Yeah, tight red zone defense from SMOG there, and it needed to be to prevent Ambush breaking for the lead.
To Gill in the middle. Gill to Thompson. Home sideline to Tidswell. Back to Thompson. Fakes up the line. Thompson comes back under, receives disc. Looking deep. Up the line to Bennett. Bennett right on the end zone line now. Wide swing to Patterson. Patterson fakes. Pick called. Patterson with the disc, just trying to clarify when the pick was called, where the disc needs to go. Obviously it does need to go back. Was it to Andy Patterson just for that one throw before, or does it go all the way back to Bennett? All the way back to Bennett in this corner, so that's at least 3 passes to go. Wow, yeah, seeing that really intense defensive effort from SMOG down this other end zone.
Yeah, Collier takes a huge bunch out of that one on the mark, but not able to punish him for it.
Damore on the force now. Seeing if he can put Bennett under some pressure. Bennett's been quite a pivotal player for SMOG so far this game. A lot of chit-chat about how to bring this disc back in after the pick call, but it seems like they're just about set.
Yeah, have had some slightly protracted discussions in this game.
Perhaps that's Sunday morning brains not able to clearly articulate.
I know the feeling.
Oh, a little bit over-egged throw there. Patterson just putting out that little bit too much on it. It was quite a small window. Thompson was there, had got free, but just a bit too much on that disc, and that flies out the end zone, giving it back to Ambush with another opportunity. Yeah,
was focusing on getting it out quickly for that throw and go, but then just put too much on it. And there's a foul, I think.
Foul downfield. It's been a bit of a switch around. Damore back on the disc, but now being marked by Collier. Damore passes down that far sideline. Looked like Gill might have got a finger to that. Maybe there was a little bit of contact on that pass, but it still came out nicely. It will go back, however, as there has been a pick call out of the stack.
Yeah, just need to sort out that spacing a little bit, perhaps.
straight out of the field, straight into the arms of a spectator. Foul called there. It is, well, not contesting? Oh no, they're doing a reenactment to clarify whether that was a foul.
Okay, charades. It's a film. 3 words.
I think perhaps the spectator could call the foul. See a hand up right in front saying, right before you came and took me out, I did actually have a pretty good vision of what was going on.
I think sideline there maybe offering a perspective.
It's a contested foul call. I think just well not clear who initiated contact, or perhaps feeling that was offsetting fouls. They were both making contact there. It was a really tight window, unable to make the catch. Are they going to be able to just do the same thing again? This time they pull it off. Ooh.
Violation.
But violation called.
This point's become a bit of a grind, and often you feel that when these points do drag on, whoever can get it in gains a little bit of a mental edge, perhaps.
Yeah, which team is able to kind of dig deep and grind it out? Little equipment call now. Additional delays.
Yeah, this is a stoppage, so you are allowed to call just extends just to fix your boots or whatever it may be.
Okay, they're not going to try that same option for a third time. Instead, elect to swing back to Damore. Damore puts a big one up to number 1, Jane. Oh, but it's snaked. Number 92, Mac Chowdhury, just gets in there in front. Jane making a lovely deep cut there, and Chowdhury just coming in to steal the glory at the last minute.
There's an awful lot of time where it felt that Helen Thompson was actually favourite to get that disc, but the speed along the ground from Chowdhury absolutely raced beyond everyone.
Yeah, big forehand look, lots of nice sit on that throw. Chowdhury just sneaking down there.
And as you mentioned, Jane was there as well. So ambush break to go 6-5 up. That's an interesting position there on the far sideline. Hello to everyone, by the way, watching in the watching on our YouTube channel and getting involved in the YouTube chat. If you want to do that, then by liking and subscribing, you can become one of our now over 10,000 YouTube subscribers. So thank you everyone for your support, and then get involved in the chat there. And as well, for as little as a cup of coffee a month, you can join Ulti TV and help us bring as much Ultimate to the people as possible. More details on our Patreon page, patreon.com/UltiTV.
Yeah, if you're watching this stream, if you enjoy watching Ultimate content online on YouTube, if you enjoy the fact that it's free and easy to access, that you can send the links to your friends and kind of enjoy all these high-level Ultimate games, then you need to recognize that all of that hard work and effort comes from Ulti TV, making a huge impact in terms of Ultimate coverage here in Europe. And if you're enjoying the games, and really please think about joining the Patreon and supporting the effort. As little as a cup of coffee a month, as Benji says, could make a huge difference in the ability to bring you this content. So
yeah, it's a cup of coffee in the morning and a pint of beer in the evening. That's how I like to phrase it. Not that I drink the coffee.
SMOG with the disc, with a nice flowing offense here. Hunt back to Thompson. Thompson swings to Lees. A little pop over the top to Bennett. Oh, Bennett puts it high. Just sits up a little bit. Cod unable to come down with that. That went right over the top of his head and his defender's head. Turns around, tries to make a recovery bid, a recovery effort, but it wasn't to be. Ambush positioned themselves well to stop any attempt on that disc.
Yeah, Bennett tried to milk it all the way to the end zone, realised he couldn't. And I don't know, maybe he just got too casual with the throw to Cod. It floats up, and Sharma smacks it to the turf to make sure that there's no possibility of picking up the trash.
Yeah, lack of focus, execution error from SMOG. And Ambush will happily take the disc back with an opportunity to break.
Interesting that SMOG have realised, that we Ambush, they like to put it deep, and they've got Rachel Turton just sitting in that deep space.
Yeah, we do have an Ambush player sneaking off into that corner far side. Turton just poaching off a little bit. So a foul was called on the mark. I think the issue here being that the downfield players understood there was a stoppage, didn't know the disc had been checked back in. Yeah, we do have a Hunt checked the disc in. Downfield didn't hear that it had been checked in, so all stopped playing. Schweid with the disc. Back to Schweid. Beckoning people under, not seeing the options they want. Round to number 25, Tang. Back to Schweid. Oh, a diving bid from Perez to catch that one. A great effort to keep that disc alive.
I thought that was going to pick up Rubber Crumb for sure. Brilliant effort.
Forward to Lee. Lee passes and follows right down the line, doesn't get the disc. Disc swings along the back. Sharma and Schweid. Wow, travel called on the throw. That was a lot of quick movement from the handler set there. And a quick catch with an immediate spike that kind of, got to be a bit careful with those ones. There was a moment there where I thought mine popped out of his hands, but either way, the disc will need to come back, and travel has been called on number 26, Sharma.
Yeah, we'll get another look at it again on the replay here. Maybe rounding the corner a little bit slightly, perhaps. Not slowing down as quickly as possible. I'm not sure as to the intricacies of the discussion.
Yeah, unclear from the replay. We sort of cut off before the throw went, so not sure if the travel then occurred after that or if it was in the catching motion of the disc. Pops it back to Schweid. And a low disc to Godino, who gets low to scoop that one up and secure the score for Ambush.
Yeah, there's a couple of... the game's become a little bit cawly, and Ambush, credit them, they're keeping their composure. You know, not getting frustrated with it, not making silly decisions, they're just... With the red zone there, okay, SMOG playing good red zone defense, we'll just keep swinging it around, we'll reset, and eventually we trust that someone's going to be able to get free.
Yeah, absolutely. SMOG kind of like changing levels of energy, I think, so far this game. We saw it sort of low at the beginning, it picked up after a few points and they made a bit of a comeback. But at this point in the game, I feel quite low energy, I think. You know, there's, like, as you say, it's getting a little bit coolly. Lots of sort of ongoing discussions. The resolution of calls doesn't seem to be very swift. So perhaps that's just sort of an energy and focus level from SMOG that's perhaps dipped again in this game. But as we mentioned earlier, the exercise and the practice of making sure that for all these games, they're able to keep their head in it. You know, they're going to Worlds, they're going to be playing a week-long tournament. It's going to be a huge number of competitive games against unknown rivals yet to be discovered from all over the world, different playing styles. It's really, really critical that they're able to come into these games when they're under pressure, when they're perhaps matching up against a style they're not used to, just able to keep their focus throughout the game, keep their energy high, and really sort of manage that within the team. Timeout, I believe, was called
By SMOG, I think.
Which SMOG.
Makes sense. You've given up a 3 on the bounce now, so give yourself a little pep talk, a bit of a mental reset. Because we've seen that they've got some really nice passages to play. That last point, they should have scored. They had it right on the end zone line, and they just got slightly too lackadaisical with it. Got to keep that focus and that intensity all the way into the end zone.
It's really critical that the SMOG are able to come away from this game feeling like they played how they want to play. You know, they definitely, I mean, they were representing at the party last night. They were there until late. Saw them on the dance floor. So have obviously come into this perhaps feeling a little bit tired, but ultimately they're going to need to make sure that when they go home today, they think that they kind of left it all on the field and played how they wanted to play. At the moment, I don't think that's the case. As you mentioned, they do have these moments of really lovely, flowing connected offense, but at the moment just making some errors. Like that point before, they didn't need to rush that final pass and to lose focus. They need to be putting those ones in. Patterson with the disc. Finds Hyde in the middle. Hyde to Lim. Lim to Ayden, but it just goes over her head, but Hyde...
Visionary.
Able to back that up, help her teammate out. A little bit gusty now, perhaps SMOG just needing to make that little adjustment. Collier with the disc. Big fake to move their defense. Back to Lim. Ayden in the middle. Ayden to Lim. Lim just fumbles it a little bit but keeps hold. Tinswell. Right to the middle of the field to Collier.
It's a balletic attempt to toe in there, but doesn't get it. But the next pass is right into Hyde. For the goal, that was a little bit dicey at points. Thinking of the overthrow to Ayden. But credit Lucy Hyde because had that awareness and that presence of mind to be ready to back it up, and then from there SMOG got back into their offense, got back into their system. You'll see it here, it's this throw from Lim, it just sails a little bit.
Hyde there to help her teammate out.
Yeah, Ayden's a great athlete, but she couldn't close that gap in time.
Yeah.
It's a lovely little fake to get the mark on the floor. You see Collier trying his best, but can't quite execute it. And then eventually finds the score through to Lucy Hyde to make it 7-6 to Ambush.
Yeah, SMOG still very much in this game. I think a number of things they can just sort of tighten up on, but definitely still showing that they've got those connections. They can use the space and put those ones in reasonably comfortable.
7-6. See some Ambush and SMOG players watching our coverage on the stream in front of them.
We do have a screen set up for, I think there's on the back of the screen it says VAR. You know, it's set up for players if they want to have a quick look at any of the replays or perhaps consult the footage.
It's actually written in the Windmill rules that players can use videos or photography to help resolve calls, but only if it does not unduly delay the game.
Big put from Ambush, number 79, David Hampson, streaking deep, comfortably catches that. Pretty much uncontested, you know, the black shirts weren't particularly close, weren't particularly near him, wasn't putting him under pressure there.
I wonder if that caught SMOG off guard, because Hampson's been pretty much exclusively in the handler set when he's been on the pitch, but that time the opportunity was there, and Ambush did not need any second invitations about whether or not to put it. It was right where it needed to be. A brilliant put for Hampson, streaking deep, and that'll give Ambush an 8-6 half-time lead.
Yeah, Ambush take half. The players are going to take a brief moment to collect themselves at half-time in this bronze medal mixed division match at Windmill. We will do the same. After a few replays, we'll hear some messages from our sponsors, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back for the second half of this bronze medal match.
Side Murphy, and then floats that one out. Huge bid gets the touch. What a grab! DV!
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, Ultimate TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our
our
work
work.
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
Hello and welcome back to this mixed division bronze medal match here at Windmill. I am Rachel Douglas here with Benji Reese in the commentary booth, bringing you this game of Ambush against SMOG. Ambush coming from all the way from India, demonstrating the high level ultimate that India has to offer against the SMOG side from the UK.
A lot of buzz in the chat about that throw that gave Ambush half. A wicked low release flick that left Spears on the mark, groping at thin air, and it was perfect in stride. So Ultimate fans in India and in Europe just appreciating the quality of that deep put. Your Ambosic's right. This Ambush team absolutely can play. They put in their little bio that they were hoping to ambush Krut in the final. They didn't quite make it there, but if they could hold on here, getting bronze in your first appearance at maybe the world's greatest tournament, it's not a bad thing on your resume.
Yeah, not at all. And Ambush really demonstrating how diverse their plays are, what incredible options they're able to take, and how they're able to play across their lines. So SMOG having to put some pressure on to try and get a break or two back if they want to stay in this game. Big pass goes up. Oh, Sidwell just not able to bring that down. I'm not sure what happened there.
I think I can tell you exactly what happened. He did the right thing and he went to catch his D. The problem is that he just didn't catch it.
That was a... I feel like I'm a bit on the back foot trying to look at that play. So that was a low huck. Should have been defended, wasn't defended. The Ambush player managed to catch it. I think that might have been Liz, managed to catch it on the rebound. And then not in. Sidwell tries to get a block and then they managed to pop it in anyway.
Here we are, let's have a look at another replay. It is ripped, Tinswell's there, and oh, it goes right through the little letterbox. And it's Jeuken who's the grateful recipient. Interestingly there, I saw Rachel and Ayden just kind of loitering underneath, marking a player of the opposite gender. So I wonder if they're thinking, okay, we'll try and throw some gender mismatches at them, see how well Ambush can handle it.
Yeah, well, didn't look too fussed by it.
Not on that occasion, no, although you could say that maybe they should have been turned. I think Spek would say that they probably should have been.
Yeah, I think there was sort of a very clear opportunity for a D, which wasn't able to be utilised. Tiswell doing a massive effort to try and get that block on that pass for the score, but not able to get there. SMOG now with the disc. Thompson passes upfield to Hunt in a lot of space. Patterson looking downfield. Doesn't get the disc. Disc swims back to Thompson. Forward to Gill. Gill looking down the line, not seeing anything she likes. Patterson comes through for the up the line pass and just rushing that forward put into the end zone. That was not a kind of a, it wasn't a challenging pass, but just didn't take that second. Was still moving from his catch and manages just to turf that before it gets to Thompson.
It's
it was
tricky
free in the end zone.
Thompson is free, but also she's directly in front of you there. So actually, trying to get that at an angle where she can stop and turn and come back to it, you might be better off faking that. Just wait till you can hit someone kind of in stride coming in the same direction.
Huge put. straight off of the, oh my God,
Yep.
huge foot straight off of that end zone line, right? That was a full pitch huck. Amazing work, Turt getting down there, trying to put pressure on, but Ambush just not bothered at all. Number 10, Damor, going up incredibly high for that one. Amazing athletic effort to come down with it, and just an unbelievable huck.
I mean, it's a little bit ridiculous. For SMOG, you do feel for them slightly, because on that occasion, they had Turton lurking deep. There's the turnover. And you're like, okay, Turton's a phenomenal deep defender. Patterson's not far away from the play as well. But sometimes all you can do is just kind of stick your hands up and be, all right, fair play. It's an absolute rip from Sharma. And look at the air that Damor gets.
Yeah, Turton taking position, doing a great job to read that and really kind of try and attack it as early as possible, but she was just that kind of centimetre or two off, and Damor doing an amazing job of timing his jump. Really has great ups, obviously a huge vertical jump, able to attack that early and just get those few centimetres over Turton and come down with the score.
What a play. What a play. Is that offside call?
I believe that was a gender correction on the call. I think they had, that pull didn't come from a female player.
Yeah.
And SMOG just correcting them and saying, actually, that's not who needs to be pulling right now.
Yeah, the prescribed puller rule. Sometimes I guess could take some getting used to.
He's looking a bit flustered there, but finds Hunt downfield, gains yards. Lots of defensive pressure from Ambush. Thompson with the disc, pops back to Lees for a reset. Crossfield to Turton, nice inside-out throw. And then inside throw to Cod, which he just isn't able to catch. It was more or less in his hands, but just fumbles that right in the end zone.
It's turning into that sort of game now for SMOG.
Timeout called.
Yeah. Take a breath. Maybe draw up a set play. And if you can put that in 11-6 up, it feels like that would be game over. But not for the first time. SMOG just in the end zone. Just a simple error of focus or poor execution could come back to bite them. There's no reason Cole should be dropping that, and you know, I'm sure that will not be news to him. It's a catch he would not even think about most of the time because it's right there. But you know, maybe last game at the weekend, a little bit physically and mentally fatigued, just bounces right out.
Yeah, I think maybe that's the issue, as you say. Normally wouldn't have to think about it, but when you're this tired, when you've been running this hard all weekend, and when you were at the party last night, it's very, very difficult to come into these games with the level of attention and focus that's required.
What did you make of last night's party?
Well, it's a Windmill party, so as usual, it was a big one. Lots of teams having a really good time. I've always found Silent Disco to be a strange affair.
It is, isn't it? It's slightly surreal.
It's a bit of a weird one, but no, it was great. It was a classic kind of Windmill good time. But I think a lot of players, a lot of teams. Very, very pleased to be back at a tournament, with a party, back seeing all their old friends after quite a long hiatus for a lot of people. So
I mean, I saw you mingling around, making some mischief. I heard someone threw a pint of beer in your face.
I'm not at liberty to discuss. Okay, so Ambush, after calling that timeout, bringing the disc back in here. SMOG, we've seen them making some mistakes. You know, they got their offense flowing, and then just a fumble or a throwaway on that end zone line has deprived them of a number of points that otherwise they should have been securing. Ambush now setting up their offense in a horizontal look. SMOG now deciding how to position themselves on defense. It's critical that SMOG can shut down this offense and get this turnover. Ambush moving it around the back. Lees is free in the middle of the field, but doesn't get the disc. Big pressure from Tessa Hunt. Unable to get the D. Injury call on field. Tessa Hunt.
It is Hunt, I think.
Just caught her hand on the disc or on the player as she came through there. Just seems to be shaking her hand.
Yes, the game been getting a little bit fractured at points, but full credit to everyone on the sideline here from both sides, because as soon as they spotted the injury call, they were very loud, very vocal, wanted to get the game stopped to make sure that Hunt was okay.
Yeah, and Rachel Naden comes on in
Not
place
a bad
of
replacement.
Tessa Hunt, yeah. Outstanding player for an outstanding player.
I know those two are floating around the GB World Games squad, which I don't think they've officially announced yet, but
the squad is announced, but the final
that's what I mean,
final
the
team
roster,
list.
yeah.
But yeah, both Rachel Naden and Tessa Hunt are part of the GB World Games squad as it currently stands. SMOG putting a lot of defensive pressure on there. Rachel Naden just making sure that disc doesn't get completed. It was a low pass, but she did well to just ensure that there was no play that could be made. Thompson now with the disc, forward to Naden. Naden right in that far corner, on the end zone line. Dumps to Thompson. Thompson looking downfield. This time, God's able to come down with it. A sliding knee catch, making sure he got low. Put his body behind the disc, no chance he's going to drop that one.
For a big lad, that is a much tougher catch than his previous one. But, you know, committed to the knee slide, a little bit rock and roll almost.
Yes.
It's partly about knowing knowing who your receiver is, because that, this will not surprise anyone who's watched me, who knows who I am. Like, I'm 5'4", I'm not tall, so that first throw that Cod dropped, for someone like me, would have been nigh on impossible. But that low throw is fine. This one, when you throw into bigger receivers, you get that much larger catch radius. Like, you can throw it higher, you can throw it lower. Generally, taller players struggle with those discs that are a bit low to the ground. But rather than try and make the awkward scoop up on the ankles, going down to the knee slide is great. A, because it gives you a kind of more stable base coming through. You're keeping it at the same angle. And B, your body is creating that backboard.
And it looks great.
Yeah, that is the most important thing. It does look cool as heck if you pull it off. So credit to God for that.
SMOG with the pull.
Let's get down there! Let's get there!
Arcing pull, going to be fielded by Hampson.
Let's go!
Hampson to Cadu. Cadu in the middle of the field. To Shetty. Happy to move it between the handlers. Back to Hampson on that far sideline. A low disc. Number 4, Godino, having to go to ground again. I think she's had to pull off that a number of times this game. Saving low disc. Disc is high. Or Williams unaware that it was coming over his shoulder, and
Almost got the D with his head.
yeah, Cadu able to get that on that second pop-up. Schweid with the disc. Back to Cadu.
Wow.
That was a filthy dump pass. That was
Wicked.
unbelievable. Not impressed with what he's seeing downfield. Cadu.
Try again.
Yeah, we want to see a second time of that dump pass. Unbelievable stuff. Some sort of cool downfield. Perhaps a pick out of the stack. We're going to have a second look at that. Getting so low to the ground, he actually had to sit down on that dump pass. A really kind of precise throw for someone who's putting their body on the ground at the same time. That was quite unusual. But again, Cadu just showing that he's got lots of options.
Yes, it's showing that athleticism in a way that you don't necessarily expect. That quick ability to drop the weight, get that centre of gravity low to the ground, but also to keep the balance there, to get that delicious inside flick through.
I mean, that basically looked like a death drop. That was amazing. Ambush losing yards, but happy to move in between their players, between their handlers. Disc goes high, but red shirt's underneath it, number 21. Jaggle, but a turnover.
Yeah, I thought maybe they got a little bit fortunate with the first one because it was thrown into basically everybody on the pitch.
Yeah, it was on that break side though, so I think the defense were all set up on the other side of the players, so there were more red options. Bruin with the disc, passes back to Spears. There's a call on field as one of the Ambush players just seems to take a tumble.
Yeah, Bruin often seen with one of the UK's other premier mixed-sized Mighty Hucks. Also, someone named Becky Thompson, who's not a name that I recognise, pointing out that her identical twin sister Helen is also in the World Games training squad. Again, as we mentioned, they haven't announced the final roster yet.
Yeah, we weren't trying to do an exhaustive list of the World Games training squad members, because of course we'd also have to mention Nick Williams, who's also
that is correct, yeah.
He's also there, but quite correct, Becky. Want to get a shout out for her sister, so shout out to Helen for putting in work and making that squad too.
Williams puts it deep, and SMOG nearly picked up the trash, but it was well defended there by Ambush.
Ambush with the disc, moving quickly. Could do on that far sideline, down to Godino. Godino puts it high. And Liz, the share of this game. Liz reads that really well, uses that little bit of a height advantage, I think, gets up high, receives that for the score. Ambush just looking more comfortable, looking more confident, looking more in stride, like they're playing their own game. You know, when the disc turns, and they are getting those turns, whether that's for their own defensive effort or just some miscalculations by SMOG, they're just moving the disc downfield without too much trouble, taking good options and executing them well.
Yeah, just putting it into the end zone, and he believes in Liz to bring that down, and answered the call with aplomb. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you, Sunday morning.
Liz doing a great job, I think. Just on that replay, you can see her reading the disc and putting her body in the way, just making sure that the SMOG player didn't have a clean line, to give herself a bit more time and ensure that she was the only one who was going to have a clean play on that disc. So great positioning there, and smart play.
Yeah, expecting the cap horn to go any minute now.
Thompson with the disc. To Collier.
Coming out now in a zone ambush, or at least kind of sagging off to try and clock them into the space. I like this. Slow it down, knowing that with the way the cap rules work, if they can maintain this advantage late on, they can close out the game. That's the put for Collier's too far.
Yeah, SMOG were moving it nicely through the zone. Was that Bennett with the throw? Sort of saw the option going deep and decided to put it. But again, Sunday morning legs, Sunday morning thinking, just all a little bit slow, a little bit disjointed, doesn't come together. And now Ambush back on offense with another chance to break.
And taking another timeout, I think.
Another timeout called, okay. Well, while they're taking a timeout, we'll also take a timeout. We're going to take a quick breather and perhaps have some messages from some of our sponsors, but we'll be back very shortly.
So loads of tournaments happening, which you can attend either as a player or a spectator. You can find them on Ultical.
So that timeout was called by Ambush, who are up by several breaks now, and in with another break opportunity here. That's their second timeout they've called after a turn, when they have looking at the kind of the full field, just trying to collect themselves, trying to see if they can call some plays, maybe get some practice in on some of their set plays. SMOG now desperate to get this D. Upline pass to a huge put. Damore streaking deep. Two SMOG defenders, but unable to shut him down. Huge spike which flies downfield and his own teammate in the face. But yeah, massive celebration from Ambush. That's, you know, they've played that same look again and again. SMOG unable to stop those long puts going and being received, despite the fact that it was 2-1 in that end zone.
You see why they take the timeout, because they wanted to draw the set play. They're using the horizontal set downfield. They get the other handler to make that slash cut behind the force, en passant style almost, and then with the disc there, absolutely rips it to Damore. And hey, when it finishes like that, why the hell not, you know?
Yeah. Ambush side coming from India, hailing from Goa. They said coming into this tournament they wanted to showcase the ultimate in India, and I think this is absolutely doing that. They're really demonstrating such incredible play, such athleticism. All across the lines we're seeing big bids, big efforts, big puts by every single player on the Ambush side. And they're really kind of taking this game away. I think it's a little bit of a surprise. I think SMOG probably are a little bit surprised that they haven't been a kind of a stronger force in this game. But that's something that they'll be able to take away and think about. Thompson with a comfortable put in the end zone. Hunt back on the field after going off for an injury earlier, but a very smooth offensive point for SMOG.
They've just not had that with any real consistency in this game, unfortunately for the Brits. But this one, Thompson sees it, not a huge window to rip it in, but really muscles that one through, hits Hunt in stride. SMOG will close the gap a little bit there, but feel like it might be a case of too little, too late.
Yeah, I think that's a kind of a glimpse into the kind of offensive players that SMOG are looking to make. I think, like you said, they haven't been able to bring those out consistently in this game. We did see it kind of a slow start, and then after a few points, we sort of started to see that play from them. But then since then, the energy seems to have dipped. Maybe their head's not quite as much in it as Ambush, not quite as fired up. But a really great demonstration there. Thompson to Hunt, that World Game squad connection. Just a clarification here. I think there's on how much longer is left of the game.
Yeah, I think the clock should have expired, but for whatever reason, the time is over jingle hasn't been playing.
So 74 minutes have passed. Time is over. The game is not within 2, so they will not go to a soft cap. And so a little bit of
the most underwhelming ending, but Ambush have taken the bronze medal.
Yeah, congratulations Ambush. A really incredible showing from them. Coming into this game firing lots of unbelievable puts, really athletic bids to come down with scores. SMOG, some moments of brilliance, but just unable to kind of hold it together throughout the game and keep the pressure high. Some kind of uncharacteristic errors, giving Ambush opportunity after opportunity, which they massively capitalised on. Ambush take the bronze in this bronze medal match here at Windmill. We've got lots more action for you this afternoon, or this morning. We've got, of course, the final games.
We do indeed, starting with the women's final with 3SB from the Czech Republic taking on the USA's prima donna girls, before we go to the open division with Clapham from the UK taking on Belgium's Moon Catchers, and we finish today with the mixed final, Puti from Finland taking on the hometown heroes of Grut.
So lots of action here on Alta TV. Make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss a thing. I'm in the commentary booth here with Benji Reese. I'm Richard Douglas, bringing you this bronze medal victory for Ambush over SMOG. Stay tuned for more action, and we'll see you later.